Okay, hey, looks like we are live. Let me one more time really quickly tweet the link to this. You know what? Actually, I already tweeted that. Let me just hit retweet all of that stuff. Quote tweet, and we're live. All right, cool. That's posted. We're good. Let's move on. So, hey everyone, welcome to this week's stream. This is number 2 for those of you keeping track. I think I put that in the title. So let's do a couple of things. I actually do have a little bit of a schedule planned out for today. So first of all, let's review what happened last week and what all of that stuff. So that was the very first stream, my first time ever actually doing any kind of live stream, and I think for the most part it went okay. Yeah, woo, yay, congrats to us. So again, the project, I just kind of want to reiterate what the goal is. And you know what, I'll just show these slides that I made last week. So here's the idea. I have for a different side project of mine, I want to use Cloudflare, Cloudflare pages, right? So it is their resource, their cloud resource for hosting static content, right? So we have a ton of those within the cloud space. You know, Azure has Azure Static Apps. DigitalOcean has, I think it's just static page. I forget what it's called. Right, like at this point, pretty much every cloud provider has their thing for hosting just static files as a web page. Cool, some front end thing. A lot of those companies make it hard to just flat out upload files. What I mean by that is a lot of them have their own build technology built into it. So I guess the thinking behind that is for just a single team who only focuses on the front end side of things, let's make it easy for them to check in a pull request or something, or merge into some branch, and then we want to make it easy to take that branch and have just one site version up here. And so the idea is, well, if you have 7 branches, you can have 7 different your 7 different versions of the page up and running. And that's the idea behind that. That's the benefit of using that built-in thing. However, for me, on my specific project, I have made the decision that I do not want to use that. I'm going to go with a different model on how to manage the different environments. And so as a result, that means that I'm not going to be using the main thing that they say, hey, this is how you deploy to us. Okay, let's move on to the reason. Well, so that's why I'm doing this. So let's talk about why exactly we need to make a different thing. So with Cloudflare specifically, they have a 2 ways that you can go ahead and upload your static content if you don't want to use their built-in build tool. So you can either go to their web portal and upload a zip folder, essentially, or an individual file. Or if you want to do any sort of automation, you have to use their CLI, the Wrangler CLI. And so that's essentially installed locally. You just run the command and it uploads everything. Or installed locally and you run it as part of like a CI/CD process, like GitHub Actions or something else, right? Whatever it is you're using. So that's essentially what I want to do. Now, Cloudflare does have a Pulumi provider, but it does not make it possible to just upload those files to your Cloudflare Pages project. You can create Cloudflare Pages project, you just cannot upload those individual files. So that's what we're doing. We're making something that you can use with Pulumi to say, hey, I have two pipelines. Pipeline A is the build pipeline. It just builds everything, creates those assets, and puts them somewhere. And then the actual deployment pipeline will download those assets and say, okay, we're deploying to the dev environment, so take these files and push them there. Or we're deploying to the QA environment, take the files, push them, or prop, right? Whatever it is you're using. That's the model that I want to go with, because I already have that model set up for a couple of other applications within that domain. So if I've already automated that, I don't want to have one small part of it, or any part, no matter how big or small it is. I don't want to have one part that's different. I want one button, go, just build and deploy to where I want it to go. All right, so that is the overview. That's essentially what we're doing. So last week we ended on me being confused. So I had a slightly different mental model in terms of how things actually work. So I left with some to-dos, some research stuff. And then here we go. We have a goal for this week's stream. So this week we want to be able to run Pulumi up to actually push our custom resources. So let me actually talk about the way that this stuff actually works, because I said some things that are wrong, and I want to make sure that we're all on the same page. I want to make sure that all gets corrected. So I'm going to do something that I like to do. So I pulled up the Microsoft's whiteboarding app right here. I will be drawing on my surface down here. So I'll draw it here. It'll show up on the screen. There's a little bit of a lag. I'm sorry about that, but I think that this will be a good way for this to work. So here's how it's supposed to work, right? Here's how resources and providers work, because I was mixing up essentially how those work. All right, so let's say in your code with Pulumi, you're going to use something, and let's say Cloudflare, right? We're doing a lot with Cloudflare. I say that I want to make a new R2 instance, right? So Cloudflare has their R2 storage thing, their cloud-based storage, which has API parity with something like AWS S3, or a similar concept to Azure Buckets, or sorry, not Buckets, Azure Blob Storage. I don't know why I said buckets. So the general idea is, like, let's say we have a box, and this is where I say new R2, right? So this is where I'm saying create a new instance of this Cloudflare R2. I'm going to pass it in some properties. Now this part right here is going to be the resource. Okay. Now internally to this resource, it then sets a handful of properties, right? You know, so prop 1, prop 2, prop 3, etc. Those are going to be set essentially by your code, right? You want to say things like, you know, what's the name of this resource? What's the location? Maybe something like that, right? What, you know, things like that. What is it dependent on? Now, separately from that, you also have the provider. All right. Now, the provider is the thing that actually does the work, essentially. So when I create a new instance of this R2, one of the things that happens that we don't really set in our code, it's usually set as like a hard-coded string, is some kind of type. And so let's see. Let me get a different color for this. And so the type is going to be something like Cloudflare colon R2 or whatever, right? And so then the provider, sorry, let me start over. So it's going to create that, and when Cloudflare then says, okay, I've now run, I know everything that needs to be created, I know that we need to create an instance of Cloudflare R2. Now let me use its provider to actually run the code that's going to go ahead and update this or create it or delete it, right? Whatever's involved with that. So so these two things are kind of you know, essentially intertwined a lot. They not exactly one-to-one, but they're two separate objects that work very well together. Now the reason that I'm saying this, that I'm really separating things, is because while I was doing a little bit of research into this, I actually learned about something else, so we're actually kind of going to change this. So I'm going to leave this alone right now, and I'm going to go to, let's see, here we go. I'm going to go over to this code. And this is the code that we had from last week, where it turns out things were very wrong, so we're going to end up deleting a lot of this stuff. But just as something for an example, just to kind of show a couple of things. So let's say, you know, var my r2 equals new, you know, Cloudflare dot r2. Let's see. Actually, do I have a reference? No, I don't. So that's probably why it's not showing up. So 1 second. Let me install oops, not that one. Pulumi.cloudflare. Hey, there we go. Let's not use a beta version. Let's use the latest stable version. Cool. Looks good. That is installed now. Woohoo. We're good there. So let's say, Pulumi.cloudflare. R2 bucket. There we go. That's what we want. So if we go to the constructor for this, we see a couple of things, right? So the name, the thing that we are going to name this R2, the arguments, all of those properties, and any custom options. So this thing right here, this name, that is this part right here that I said. I just didn't know what it was called. But that is the unique identifier to say, hey, Pulumi, when you're doing your diff in your big old JSON document to figure out, you know, what changes happen, this is essentially the data type, right? Because it's just a string. It's the key that goes into that JSON, and so that's essentially what's going on here. So we're passing in a handful of objects, and a lot of this stuff is pretty much just standard stuff. And you know what? Just for me, I'm gonna go to this make resource options. I just want to make sure I'm not making something up. Nope. Okay. Cool. It looks like it just grabs some default stuff and then merges it with whatever it is you pass on in. Out of curiosity, what's in the custom stuff? What's the default stuff that it creates? Merge. Okay, yeah, nothing crazy, I don't think, from what I can tell. Copying properties. All right, I'm not. That's gonna get too late. So anyway, so that's what happens there. So I want to do a quick tangent to talk about what we're actually going to go ahead and change things to. So here's what happens. This is a lot of work, like all of this stuff that we're talking about. And I thought, oh, hey, we're going to start this. It's going to take a couple months, right? If we're only going to do one live stream, you know, a 1 hour live stream a week for a while, it'll take some time. But while I was doing some research for this, and then separately was actually researching something else, I found out about a new type of resource created by Pulumi called the command. Let's see. You know what? Let me actually just pull it up. I probably should have searched for it ahead of time. But if I go to pulumi.com/registry, and then I search for command, here we go. So this is essentially what I've found. So the idea is that this is a separate provider. It's its own provider for just running a command, and it keeps track of if something changed and if you want to run the command again, which honestly is exactly what we're doing, because what we're going to do is just going to run the Wrangler command, the Cloudflare CLI stuff. We're just going to say, all right, well, we know the changes that have happened to these static files, so just run that upload, and then Wrangler or Cloudflare, you keep track of it. You know what files are new or whatever, right? Here's just a new version of this stuff, and so this is just going to reduce the amount of code that we have to write heavily. So maybe in the future we'll actually change it to do all of this stuff, right? Because right now we have to write, you know, a ton of code just for the provider for, you know, what are we going to do when we want to update or delete or any of that stuff. But right now, I mean, we don't have to do much if we just run the command, because it's already a wrapper. So on the wrapper side, like, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to say, you know, run the Wrangler command, and then that's it. We have the provider underneath. Let me go back to a different color. So if we have the provider, this whole set of code is not something that I'm going to have to write, or we're going to have to write. We're just going to put a wrapper around that, and this happens. There's actually a handful of others where this already works. So I did not look into it ahead of time, so let's do it together. But I believe that I've actually seen another one where that happens. So let me scroll down here. Probably AWS, but I don't know it that well. Let's go to Azure Static Website. So Azure has its own Azure Static Website resource. But here it looks like Pulumi has created essentially a helper to upload files and do all of that stuff for us. So you know what? Let's let's uh let's try using this one. So let's go back to our code over here and go to our NuGet packages, manage NuGet packages, Pulumi.azure, and is it static? Let's see, Azure static website. Yeah, there we go. So let me go ahead and install it. All right, cool. So we're good there. Yeah, we'll end up deleting this. So new Pulumi dot Azure static website dot website, and if I go to the definition for this, and see, it looks like it creates its own website. Okay. Resource type. Okay. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this doesn't actually make a wrapper around that. Darn, I was hoping to see how that worked. Or is there a oh, here we go. Here's the provider. I'm wondering if we could see what the code is here. So the name of the provider is Azure Static Website. And we don't see too much here. It's a provider resource. Okay. So there's still a little bit of me misunderstanding kind of how me having a misunderstanding of the mental model in terms of how these things actually work together. Just kind of skimming through this code to see if there's anything I can that jumps out at me. But no, this is all basic Pulumi part stuff. Okay, but either way, it doesn't matter. For our thing that we're going to be creating, we're just going to go with something very simple. And I've actually already done that. So hold on, let me put this laptop down. And then here we go. Now we have the full thing over here. So, oops. Oh, sorry. Don't want that pop up there. Okay. Where was I? So I've actually already written code like this. This is for a different project of mine, where essentially what we're going to do is we're going to create a command. So here's our command we're going to run. We'll set some environment variables, which are set in config, and then we create our resource that just uploads those. So the Wrangler command is choosing when to upload. And then the only part that's a little bit tricky is the triggers right here. So the trigger in terms of when should this run again? When should we run the create, and when should we run the update? Essentially just when are we running update, right? Because the first time it creates it, yeah, it's going to create it. But when should we run that update again? So the way that I've chosen to do this is it's a little bit of work, but I'm essentially just looking at every individual file that's being uploaded and creating a checksum of that file, and then we're just creating a collection of those. And if anything is different at all, then this will know to rerun, and that's it. That's essentially all we're doing there. So let's move this code over here, and let's go back to our project. So like I said, we're going to be deleting a lot of this stuff. So let's start over. So first of all, back to this integration project. Let's delete this, and we're going to leave this other stuff, even Cloudflare, because as part of our integration testing, what we want to do is create the pages project, and then we will add, send in our index HTML file to be uploaded, to be published, all that stuff. Okay, so let's go back to our provider, and you know what? It's probably easier if we just start over, because I don't want to call this a provider, because I feel a little bit bad about that. Honestly, if I go back to, let's see, there's a registry. If we go back to the documentation from Pulumi about building a component resource, I mean, that's essentially what we're doing, right? We're creating our own thing, or actually, here's an example. This is them creating a wrapper around something else, right? Our bucket component is, it's essentially just a S3 object, I guess, policy. I'm not sure. It's doing some stuff. I'm not really reading this code, so what I'm saying is probably very, very wrong. But looks like we have some examples here of creating this stuff. And you know what? Let me look at this Azure one in Python. So I'm not big on the Python stuff, but it looks very simple in terms of what it'll create. So let's go to the main Python file. Let's see what's going on. So core, create the resource group, create virtual network subnet, all this stuff. Okay. All right. So loads config is just getting some values, and then it just creates stuff, which is exactly what we want to do, right? We're just doing that. So this is a component resource. So that is good to know. So we'll call it a component. All right. Perfect. Let's see. I don't like this name, static files provider. You know what? Let's just start over. I think that's probably the best thing to do. Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and delete or close this. I might have to do some stuff in a different screen that I don't want to show. So for now, let me just show this part while I look at a different screen. Let's see, let me go to my GitHub folder. Okay, cool. So we've got that. Now I'm going to need to go to GitHub over here. 1 second. Let me pull this up. So I'm just going to rename the repo. So I'm hopeful no one... Alright, here we go. Cool. So let me pull that browser tab open over here. And let's see. Now I need to try and remember how to rename this. It's been a while. Settings. Hey, there we go. Cloudflare pages.static files component. Let's see. Again, naming things, the absolute hardest part of programming. But yeah, sure, that's probably fine. And I'll just scroll all the way down. Nope, that's not it. Oh, hey, that's the button right next to it. Cool. So we have that. Our URL has changed. So let's move that back over here into my other tab. And let me go back up here to Visual Studio. Let's make it simple. Let's clone a repository. All right, we're going to clone that one. And let me change this to my C GitHub folder and clone that. So this will be the code that we had uploaded last week. That's all it is. Cool. Thankfully, we are early enough in this that we can do this. So cool. So we have that. Now we'll end up renaming everything else. But let me pull over. So it looks like we still have both the provider and the component because that's what I already had. I did not delete it. But let me F2. We'll copy that, and a thing that I like to do is just in terms of renaming things. Let's make it simple by opening this in Visual Studio Code and make it easy to rename things there by copy pasting. Let me delete that file. That should not have been checked into source control, so that part is a hassle. We'll rename that stuff there. So let me call this one component. That's probably right. And then that means that over here for the solution file component, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna change that name. God, naming things sucks. Anyway, static files component. Cloudflare pages static files component. Let's do that. Oh, so this copy paste there, copy paste there. That's what we'll call it. Okay. And then here's the. I guess we'll call the CS file that. Let's delete this file. I guess we'll delete that file also. We'll delete the Pulumi plugin, and let's change the name of the CS project file. And actually, let's end up changing this. There we go. So I think that's it for us right now as far as what we need to change in Visual Studio Code. Keep that. Well, let's minimize those things. Let's open the solution file. We do have to make a couple of other changes here. We've got static files. First of all, let's go in here and what is the name of the solution? So the name of the solution is essentially the name of the namespace and the namespace and also the project. And then let's fix that namespace there. All right, cool. Provider. And let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Is there? What are we inheriting from? Let me go back to that part. Was it this tab? Yeah, here we go. Is this tab? Let's see. Resource options. Okay. I guess let's go with nothing. Nothing for now. No need to inherit from anything. All right. Cool. Yay. Here we go. We've got our static files component. All right. That's it. I mean, we're essentially just making a wrapper around stuff. All right. So I think we're good there. Let's commit this stuff completely repo to show or to be a custom resource component project now instead of a custom provider. All right, let's commit that directly to main as we can do because I'm the only one working on this and it's very early in the project. So, all right. Oh God, let's get rid of a lot of these using statements too. That's a separate issue. All right, cool. So dependencies. Whoops. Good. I clicked on the wrong button. Manage NuGet projects. All right, let's go back to this. So Pulumi.command. All right. One thing to notice is that it says the latest stable is 081. Their website says that it's still kind of in beta. So let's, for the time being, I guess this project will be in beta. Why is it, did it not install? I mean, if it's airing, okay, no, it's there. It was airing out, or we're getting a build issue, but that's fine. I don't think this compiles right now. If I hit build, yeah, the integration project fails. That's fine. We can ignore that for now. All right, but that's not too bad. Let's see, what do we want to do over here? We don't, yeah, that's right, we don't want to reference that anymore, so let's get rid of this, but we should add a project reference to that. Ooh, that is a long title. Oh boy, do I hate long names for things. Oh well, and then we go back to the program CS. Let's that files. All right, cool. So let's see. All right, so we have this. So let's look at, like, you know, how we normally, how Pulumi things are normally created, right? So if I say like var my r2 equals new cloud flare. Oh God. Okay, maybe it wasn't just last week. Maybe I'm just bad at bad at typing. What? Am I not referencing the Pulumi cloud? Oh no, it's right because I added that in the other repo. So let me add that back here. Pulumi.cloudflare. And we'll use the latest stable version. Cool, so we're good. And this reminded me, just so that I don't forget, let's go back here. I'm going to go back to delete the old one, the provider one, just to make sure that I'm not, that I don't forget, you know, in 2 months, like what the difference is. So let's say R2 bucket. All right, cool. So when we create this, usually we give it a name and we give it some args. So that's cool. So let's let's emulate the same thing here. So string name, and then was it those args? That's what we want. So R2 bucket args. So let's call this static files args. All right, cool. All right. Let's see. So we don't need to put anything in the constructor. I mean, what we're essentially, you know, we're not going to copy this. Whoops, sorry, wrong one. We're not going to copy this, you know, essentially word for word, because I believe a lot of this, some of this stuff is pretty much, you know, exactly how, you know, Cloudflare would want. And actually, you know what? Yeah, sure. Let's implement. Let's inherit from that. Pulumi resource args. I don't know if that would hurt. I hope it wouldn't hurt. Are we not referencing Pulumi? We are. Oh, does it have to be global? Is that the issue? Global. Oh, okay, it does. All right. I don't really know how globals work in C Sharp, to be honest. It's kind of a new one to me. Um, all right, so I think this is really just so that when you have headers that say something's required, like for example, if we go back here and we go to the R2 bucket args, the inputs, some say that they're required, that kind of stuff. So um, let's see. You know what? There's actually a couple of things here that we're going to want to keep, so I'm just going to copy paste some of them over into our args. So let's go back to this. We've got our args over here. That'll be pretty simple. So we're good there. Really don't like this equals. Not no. That's making me twitch a little. But we'll leave that. I guess. Ooh. All right. No, this is wrong. Sorry, I'm copying things. Sorry, I'm copying things from the R2 bucket. That's not at all what we want. But we'll leave these here for now. So let me look again at the code that I said that I had kind of already implemented it, right? Like so, if I were to just copy paste what actually needs to run over here, static files. So that running inside of the constructor. Now what we want to do is create the command. So, oops, this will be Pulumi command.local. So there's a difference between local and remote. Honestly, I didn't spend a lot of time. My understanding is that local means running local on this local machine, and remote is, something running Pulumi is here, but the command needs to run somewhere else. So my understanding is that's what it means. I hope. I hope that's what this is. All right, so we have, let's see, so really we just have kind of three things in here that we just need to take. So if we go to the command args, let's see, we've got our triggers, we've got our environment variables. Honestly, we probably are going to want most of these, but just for the sake of getting something set up and running, I think we'll just start with this. So let me move that to a different screen, and I'm going to start copy pasting things over into our args. All right, so here we've got triggers, so that'll be the first thing, and then environment variables. Let's see, where's environment? Here we go. Environment. All right. Now the next is something else that actually is needed. So we have the command resource uses the create. We're actually going to call it something else. Let's see, command to run. To upload. All right. So upload command. Oops. So let's do that, and then we'll call this one upload. How does Pulumi do multiple words? Do they do casing? Do they do dashes? As I'm scrolling through the one other thing that I have on my other screen, I don't see anything. So I'll just say upload command. Let's hope that doesn't break anything. But we'll see what happens. So the args. Let's go back here. Let's see what is that usually called in the other stuff. Oh, great! Now we got to go back. I have to go to the definition here. Args. He calls it args. Okay. So back here, we'll call this args. All right, and then this is going to be the name from the constructor, and then create will be args.upload command, and the update will actually be the same. So apparently, I was skimming the documentation, so I already know this, but if you do not have an update, then when it does need to update, it will run the create command again. Just for the sake of sanity, I would rather make sure that we just set it for both. I think that's going to be better. Let's see, environment, and then do I not have the trigger? There we go. We have some triggers. Okay. Let's see, and then we'll do some other stuff. Let's see, custom resource options. Custom resource options. All right, here we go. Actually, this should be null. You know what? There's some like default stuff that happens with that, right? So if I go here, that's null. Okay, so we'll make resource options. What happens here? What's this private static thing? Oh, all right. So more code. I'm just gonna copy paste, honestly. So let's do that. Let's go over here to the static files. All right, cool. So this static thing. Let's see, utilities.version. What is utilities? If I go to the Pulumi.utilities.version. I don't know what that is though. Oh no, it's referencing this Pulumi? Oh no. Oh, I always hate that. Oh, that's a C# thing. Okay, oh, I think we need to start changing. Well, that can just be the namespace. We'll leave the project, all that stuff alone. Great. All right. So instead of this component, just call this Pulumi component. Cloudflare pages, not static files. No, that is also going to have another name collision. All right. So let's go with this. Let's go with this. Boy, naming things, such a hassle. All right, cool. So now we're good. Yeah. So now it just doesn't exist. So what am I copy pasting wrong over here? That doesn't exist. What? Oh no. Okay. Well, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the default version is supposed to be though. Do we have any kind? Oh, here we go. The optional version corresponding to the version of the provider plugin that should be used when operating on this resource. Oh, okay. Got it. So this is really just to let anyone using this know what version we're using. Okay, got it. So that is something. Let's leave that commented out for now. Fill this in. So later when we implement a CI/CD process, we're going to go ahead and actually set a versions. But for now, we'll just leave that alone. It's not used for anything, is what it looks like. All right, so let's get back up here. Let's see. Equals. Alrighty, so, whoops. Nope. Alright, here we go. And then we'll pass in this. This is what we want. So, this will use this null. What's null? The ID. Oh. Let's see. What should the ID be? I guess the ID is the name. Sorry. So I should probably show you what I'm looking at too. So we got a bucket over here, and then this is calling this. Okay, no name. Okay, so an ID. In this case, the ID is an empty string, so it's fine to pass in an empty string for the ID. Okay, I guess I just don't know what the ID would be, but I guess we'll leave it alone for now. So ID will be an empty string, I guess. Let's hope that doesn't bite us if we run it like multiple times. But as far as I can tell, that's normal. What is the ID? An optional ID, existing ID to load rather than create. Oh, okay, got it. So, so if you're in that scenario where, let's say that you've manually created something, and you want to import that into Pulumi, you would give it the ID of that thing, so that way Pulumi doesn't create it. And then this is essentially the load it in, and then now you can control it and run updates and that kind of stuff. So, because this isn't like a raw thing, we don't need the ID, so that's fine by us. All right, cool. All right, so as far as a command goes, go to the arguments for it. Let me actually pull that over here. Let's minimize this so we can see. Let's see. We have. Oops, that's not what we want. We want this one. Let's see. We actually have some other things that we'll actually end up using. We're passing in. We might need environment variables. The interpreter. What's the interpreter? Oh, what's actually going to run this command locally? So, thankfully, that's something we won't need. We might need to worry about standard in, standard out, all that stuff. for now, as far as what we're doing, we're not going to need any of this extra stuff. We'll consider doing that in next version. But right now, the goal is to get this to run. And so I think for the most part, we're pretty much we're kind of there actually. Yeah. So let me hit build. Let me make sure that this works. It does not. Let's go. Ooh. Oh boy. All right. Yeah. Obviously, it's not going to because of all this stuff. So all right. So let's do a couple of things actually. Oh, you know what? I am actually missing some other stuff. Because there are some other things, because I want this to generate the command. So let me go back to the static files. Here we are. This is where we are. There are some other things that we're going to need. So go back to the args. We're going to need the project name. So that'll be an input, required input. And you know what? Actually, this upload command, that's not going to be needed. So you know what? Let's go with project name. All right. You know what? This keeps bothering me. So I'm just going to call it project. Let's go with that. Yeah. Name. Looks so. All right. So yeah. Alright, perfect. No. Yes, tab. Thank you, ChatGPT or Visual Studio. I'm actually not sure. I think it is. I think it's the GitHub Autopilot on top of ChatGPT. So we got that. We're actually also going to need. You know what? Actually, now that I think about it, the triggers are not something that will be given. So let's get rid of that. Triggers are something that we will be generating with our code. Sorry, this is what happens when I start copy pasting code. I forget what's needed, what isn't needed. So. The other thing we're actually going to need is the path, right? Upload path. All right. So okay. So here's the thing. So we've got upload dir. This is the path to the with it, we will upload. So, and then separately, because this is an option, upload zip. All right. The path to the zip file with files in it we will upload. So here's the thing. Wrangler will let you upload either files or a zip. And you know what? I say this, let me verify, let me make sure. So let's pull this up. So Wrangler help. All right. So what we want is I probably should have done the full thing. So Wrangler pages deploy help. That's what we want. All right. Directory. Oh, I guess this is just directory. I could have sworn. Okay. So if you go to the web portal, you can upload a zip file. So I guess maybe Wrangler only supports that. So let's. Okay, cool. So it's just a directory, an extracted directory already with files. So you can't just upload a zip. I'll look at that again a little bit later just to verify. But for now, we'll just ignore the zip. I think we're fine with that. Okay, cool. Let's see. And then lastly, yeah, we're going to want the environment variables over here. I'm just going to leave this. Let's see. So cool. I think we're good. I think we'll be able to figure everything out based off of this. So now let's go back to our static files. Like I said, I've already done a lot of this stuff, so I'm just going to start copy pasting things. So here's the command will be based off of the args dot project name dot apply. Right, it did make that as an input. Okay, cool. Dot apply. Oh, you know what? I forgot to say required is true. Cool. Anything else required? Yeah, this upload directory, that's required. The environment variables, not required. So I'm I'll probably end up adding more documentation around this, but for now, let's leave that alone. Cool. So project name, path. That's right. So, oh, upload directory. Yep. Okay. Oh no. So we've got two inputs here. We're gonna need the values. So, let's see how does that work? It's a output.tuple. And so we're going to say project name, args dot upload directory dot apply. I don't think this is right. Sorry, I have some other code up here that I'm. Oh no, that's exactly how it works. Okay, dot apply x. So and then we say var project name is item 1, var upload directory is item 2. Cool. And then we're going to go ahead and return this command now that we have this stuff created. So command is this. All right, so you might be wondering, why are we doing this? You know, why do we have to care about, you know, inputs, output? Like, why do we have to do all this stuff just to make a string? That's because that's how inputs and outputs work within Pulumi. And I don't have the time to talk about it, but it's basically it comes down to dependencies, right? If you create, let's say in this case, we have our project, we're going to create an instance of Cloudflare pages, and then we're going to create this instance of the static files component to upload files to that pages project. Well, obviously the pages project needs to be created first, and so we won't even know all of the stuff about it until after it's created, essentially. So in this case, project name, upload directory, we should have those ahead of time, but we created the data types as inputs, and we don't necessarily know them until runtime. In this case, we probably do, but other times we don't. All right, now with that out of the way, and let me delete this extra code. Why is this complaining? Possible null reference. Oh, that's right, because I said that this could be true. Ugh. All right, fine. Boy, do I hate that. You know what? No. No. I hate that. I'm gonna work around that because I hate just saying obviously it's not null, even though we did say it's required. So I guess. Nah. All right. Let's see. If args project is null. So parameter name of that. All right, and then let's do the same for upload directory. All right, because yeah, that should not be null. That part is actually that should be valid here. So really quickly, we're not saying the string isn't null. We actually still could get a null string. But what we're saying is that this input is not null when it comes in. So, all right, cool. So we're good there. All right, sweet. You know, I wonder if this would. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. I was gonna say. I wonder if I could use the C# syntax to say if this is required. Now that would work here within C#, but I don't think that works if we export this as a project to something else. You know what? I don't exactly know. Okay. I said this last week. I'll kind of reiterate. One of the goals is to get this published so that it can be used by other people. One of the things that Pulumi does is we can take our project and then kind of export it in, even though we've written it in C#, .NET, all this stuff, we can export it to something that can be used by other languages also. So it can be used by Python and etc. Right? Go, all of those. So I don't know how this works, but you know what? Just for now, because of my own, annoyance and things, let's see how far we can go. How far we can actually take this for for this. Yeah, let's see how far that can go. So let's leave that, and now we don't have to worry about null exceptions, because since it's required to set that value, then we're gonna need it. Then it will need to be set before we can actually run this. So, ooh, all right, that's cool, sweet. All right, hopefully that doesn't bite us later. All right, cool. So we've got our command to run. We have some environment variables if we're given them, and lastly we have some triggers. So now I told you that I've already done this code, so I'm just gonna copy paste some of that code because it's some work. Alrighty, so let's see. So private. What is this? What is this? Input list object. All right, cool. Input list object. Generate triggers. All right, so string path dot apply. Oops. Oh, whoops, not string. Input string path. Yes, so this is what we want. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm cut and pasting the correct things. I will explain what all this is in a second. Let me just make sure it works in terms of what I'm doing here. Alright, so var path equals x dot, oh, it equals x. There we go. Just give it a nice name. Alright, so, and I like to do things with immutable, so let's use that. Alright, so, we got this. Alright, what's wrong with this apply? Oh, I need to actually return it, that's why. Okay, cool. And let me get rid of that stuff too. Okay. All right. So, and then we'll set this. All right. So, I said that I would tell you what this does. Let's actually talk about it. So, the idea is we're going to run this Wrangler command to deploy our project when we want to. The problem is, okay, in my project, my example, I have multiple applications that exist in that repo, and when I make a change just to one, everything is getting redeployed. So the front end application, which would be these static sites, and then a single backend API that I have. And that also means that the Pulumi command is being rerun to make sure everything stays as it should, right? That's the idea. So we only want to re-upload those files if something has changed. I mean, technically, we could just run it every time, and all we would have to do here is just say, like datetime dot utc now dot toString, I guess. I feel like that would work too. That would just say, hey, just upload it every time. But nah, let's do a little bit of work. Let's get a little intelligent with this, because it kind of speeds up our deployment. I think that's fine. So the way that we're doing this, so triggers, you've probably, if you worked with Pulumi, you've seen triggers before in other things too, determining when to regenerate something. An example is random variables, actually. So I don't have the Pulumi.random package inserted, but just as a quick example, Pulumi.random. So you're probably thinking like, well, okay, it's a random thing, but is it going to be random every time we run Pulumi? Well, no, because it knows when to update. So if I, new Pulumi.random dot, let's just say, random integer, right? That's essentially what we want. So just like other, it's just like any other resource, but let's look at the arguments. And so if we go to the arguments and we go to the, is it keepers? Is that what it calls it? Yeah, okay, keepers. So this is the thing that triggers. So basically, this is just a map. Because Pulumi keeps track of all of the properties of a resource, this is one that the provider knows to check. If this value is different than the last time, then it will regenerate the random integer, right? So this could be useful for times where you realize, hey, maybe a password that we generated leaked. Let's just regenerate it just to be safe, and then redeploy everything, that kind of stuff, right? So that's the idea behind the triggers or the keep. And you know what? Actually, let me get rid of that. I don't need that random in here. Get out of here. All right, cool. So that's the idea behind the triggers. So we're gonna look at every single file here, and if there's been a change, then we'll upload or re-upload everything. So the way that this works is in the path that the directory is that stores everything, all the files. We're gonna first load every single file, order them so that way we stay in the proper order, right? Every time, every subsequent run, and then for each file in there, unfortunately, we do have to read all the files, so this could get a little slow. I'm hoping we don't. I'm hoping that maybe I could think of something a little bit better later on. This is something that I just kind of written. This is easy in the sense that it's cross-platform, right? I read the file, and then I generate the checksum based off of that. If I knew I was always running on Windows or always on Linux, maybe there's something I could do there. Call the operating system and have it just give me a value. I'm sure the operating system has some kind of value for it, but we don't know the value. So unfortunately, this line can get a little scary, especially because I don't want to break someone else's application or like make it take forever, right? So for now, let's leave it alone. Let's see where things go. Then we're going to, and this is where I copy pasted some text, some code on the internet. We're just going to create a hash of that file, of those bytes, and then we're going to base 64 encode it, just so that way it's a human value, right? Because right now, because the hash is a bunch of bytes, so let's convert those bytes into a string, just some long string. I'm sure it's depending on the size of the file, and then we'll return that. So if any one of these changes, or if maybe we're missing one that's different from the last time, or there's an extra one, then we know that the triggers will decide here to rerun everything. All right, cool. So I think we're mostly good. The problem is that I'm looking at this and I noticed something that I was hard coding in my other code, which is the branch. So let me just really quickly copy paste this thing up here, and then I will explain what that is, or what that means. All right, cool. And then finally, let's see, args.branch, or branch is equal to x.item 3. All right, cool. So, branches. We kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. Remember when I said that with a lot of these static providers now, or static cloud-hosted services, if we're using their system, a lot of them have something built in where we can have the version of our site deployed to, multiple times to multiple branches, essentially, right? So if our code, if our Git repository has a main branch and a QA branch and, like 2 PRs or something, and maybe we even separate it to prod, right? We have those requirements. So that's 5 different branches. We can have the site deployed 5 different times. It's 5 different URLs that it's deployed to. And so with Cloudflare, when we upload, we have to say which branch we want to deploy to. And that's the general idea there. Cool. So we have this. I'm going to hit build. I'm expecting it to fail in the integration project, which, yes, it looks like it's just failing. Oh, nope, it's failing here because this says it's an output of exe, I think. I think if I remove that, I'm good, right? Integrate. Cool. All right, cool. Just a project. Just that's all we need. All right, so this is where I'm going to go ahead and copy paste some stuff. So I'm going to run this locally on my machine. So let me Cloudflare. Let's just add that. Project name is going to be live stream example. Oh, you know what? Nope. This is my integration one. Integration example project. All right, cool. All right, let's give that. There's the project name. Cool, we're good there. All right, this production branch, I'm gonna call it, my prod. We'll just go with that. And actually, var production branch. And if you weren't just running something as a quick example, you'd use actual Pulumi config, but we're not doing that. All right, account ID. This is my account ID for my project. I don't know what happens if you get access. Like if I just put that out there in the world. But you know what? Never mind. I've seen people post their account IDs in forums, on Cloudflare's forums. I don't know if that's something that should or shouldn't happen, but I'm just going to show you mine, I guess. Let's make it easy for me. Let's see. Do I already have Cloudflare? Sorry, I might need to log in, so I'm going to do this over here on a different, onto a different screen. So I'm logging in. And I just, you don't want to dox yourself, that kind of stuff. So let me go to workers pages. I'll just copy my account ID. You know what? Let me do a search. Is it okay to share your Cloudflare account ID? With people. Let's try this. Let's see. Account members, add remove a user. Find zones and account ID. All right. Let's see. So you get a domain, access your zone. Okay. You know what? It looks like it's that. So I'm not sure. I just don't want to go around sharing that with people, to be honest. So I'm gonna go over here and copy the full path. CD. So I'm gonna go ahead. Oops. And just set that value there. So let me go back to here. I'm gonna need to copy paste it really quickly. So this. I mean, it shows up in plain text. You know what? Just to be safe. Just to be safe. Let's see. Pulumi config set help, because I always forget the value. Actually, really quickly, in case you've never done this before, let me show you what I'm doing. So what I want to do is basically I want to set a config value, and I need to use the secret flag right here. So what I would do is I would say Pulumi config set the key. So I'm going to say let's just say account ID. Let's keep it simple. I will paste the value. I'll do that in a different screen, but it's going to be a secret. So let me go over here on the different screen, paste that value, hit enter onto my dev stack, and then we should see that, hey, here we go. So here's the secure value. So I'll hit save on that, and then I'm going to clear my console screen so that way I don't accidentally bring that over. Cool. So you can tell this looks like this is a base64 encoded, but that's just because the signing key is on Cloudflare's site. So because I'm signed in to the CLI, it knows how to decrypt that value when it needs it. So that means that I can go up here and I will say var config equals new Pulumi.config var account equals config.require secret, and what did I call it? Account ID. All right, cool. And we'll just pass that on in. All right, so we have our Pages app, so we're good there. Now, lastly, let's go ahead and create our static files. Our static files equals, hey, cool, let's see how far we can get with what GitHub Copilot wanted to generate for us. Cool, we got our project name. That's right. I don't want to set the project name as that though, so we'll call it integration. Let's do this. That dash files. Yep. All right, cool. So we got our project name set. We have our production branch because that's what we want to load up to. If we wanted to load to like some completely different branch, we could do that. We could set that here. And upload directory. This one I am going to hard code. So if you watched last week, you probably saw me create a new folder that had just static content. So we're just going to load this right here. So let me put the full path to that here. All right, cool. So that should be good. We have everything there. All right, so let's now let's go back to this CLI. So ls. We're good there. I'm sorry, I just got a notification on my phone. I do actually need to look at that one. Okay. Sorry, one second. I have a delivery that I need to click a button for. So it is a little time sensitive, just a little. So all right, cool. Update. All right, awesome. Now I can dismiss that. All right, sorry about that. All right, so here we are. We're signed into everything. We should be good. So I'm hoping if I just say Pulumi. Oh no, I think you all just got to see my account ID. Oh well, that's fine. Let's just run Pulumi up. All right. So this should run. I'm hoping it doesn't take too long. Oh no. All right, I'm missing pages project. For my pages, I do need to set. I need to create an API key, an API token. Okay, great. All right. Well, that's fine. I was hoping that because I was already logged in to Wrangler, that I wouldn't have to provide one. But that's not a problem. That just means that I'm going to have to go to the Cloudflare site over here. I guess I'll just show you all. Why not? Since you've already seen my account ID, it's on the stream, and I'm not going to go through the work to remove that. All right, let's see. I need to remember where it is I go to create those tokens every single time. I always forget. Is it my profile? Yeah, my profile. API tokens. Cool. Let's create a token. Let's start a custom one. And what's this custom one going to be called? Let's call it the create pages example, I guess. Yeah, let's call it that. Let's just keep it simple. All right. Let's see. Account, I think. Let's see. Can I just type page? Nope. All right. So it's probably going to be under zone. Page. Static pages, Cloudflare pages, custom. Nope, definitely not custom. I've done this before and I forget every time. So let's try account. There's way more under account. Stream. Oh, workers. Could be workers pages because that is a part of it. Cloudflare pages. There we go. I want this to be able to edit it, and it's only going to be specifically my account. And let's give this a, I don't know, let's let it last for a little while. Continue. All right, now I'm going to move this over here so that on the other screen it will give me that value. I will copy paste it, and then I am going to go ahead and set a different value. So here you go. So this is the API token. And I will run this on a different screen. This one, however, I'm hopeful no one sees. All right, cool. So let's clear this, and let's Pulumi up. Now we'll go ahead and run it. No, that was wrong because I didn't actually load the token. Whoops, that was a mistake. All right, 1 second. Token, and it should be API-token. I say that as I look over. All right, cool. API token. All right. Great. Now I have to look and see how I do this other stuff. How do I do it in a different spot? Okay, so I see. This is how I do that. So I actually need to create a separate provider. So var Cloudflare provider equals new provider, and it's going to be the value of this API token. Let's just do that, and we'll call this my Cloudflare provider. All right, cool. So now we have another resource that we're creating. 3. We're up to 3 resources. All right, let's clear this and run Pulumi up. All right, errored out. Errored on the pages project Y. We must provide one of these. These or these. Huh. That's odd. I am provide. Oh no, I'm not. I'm being an idiot. Options, new, custom resource, provider. Oops, no, not protect. Provider is equal to that. That's what I need. All right, cool. Build. We're all good. Clear this. Pulumi up one more time. Let's see how well this works. All right, so yes, we do want to create all that stuff. Looking good. All right, assuming this all works, I think we'll call it after this. I think we've hit our goal for this stuff. All right, cool. Hey, it says it was created. So I'm going to go over to Cloudflare, and we'll see, hey, here's my integration example project. I can click on it. We see this. Here's the My Prod branch, which we saw. And if I actually go to it, nothing shows up. Okay, well, I don't like that. Let's see, view details. There's one file, index.html. Okay, that should, huh. All right. Wondering why that's not showing up. Click on it. Huh. Odd. Oh, we're so close. So close. Let's see, here's the command. The command ran, apparently. Alright, well, let's see. If I click on this link, go to it, I don't think there's anything. Sorry, 1 second, I'm just signing in. Okay. So here we are on my account. Here's my resources. And if we go to the local command, standard error. Your working directory. Oh. Uploaded 1 files. All right, so we're good there. What? I don't know what this is saying. So let's copy that out into something else. Let's move this. Let's see. Your working directory is a Git repo and has uncommitted changes. That's true, I guess. Yeah, I didn't know. Did not know that it would care about that. But it still says it created it, and it still says that it uploaded the file. So that's odd to me. Let's go back to that code. Let's see. Well, let's see. Just for the sake of it, it did suggest also adding this flag right here, commit dirty is true, to let it upload stuff. I'll leave that alone for now. Maybe we'll make that an option later. We'll run Pulumi up, and in this case, nothing has changed other than, well, the command changed. So I guess it'll probably run it again, now that I think about it. Yeah, the command changed. But yeah, let's go ahead and run it again. Let's upload that file. Let's see. Okay, so that was uploaded. Let's go back to Pulumi. We see this. There's nothing in the error screen. Uploaded 0 files because one's already been uploaded. All right. I mean, I guess we're fine there in theory. So looking back here, the page, yeah, a few seconds ago we pushed something. It's still not showing up. That's weird to me. Huh. And this is correctly the myprod branch. Huh. Odd. If I run Pulumi up again, just for the sake of it, it should say nothing has changed. 4 unchanged things, yeah? Eh, sure, why not? Let's run it again. Okay. Just making sure. So uploaded the 1 file, yeah. And if we go to it, oops. Oh, hey! Was I just clicking on the wrong thing? Oh. Okay, maybe I don't understand how these deployment links work. But yeah, I guess I should have been clicking on this integration example project, didn't we? There we go, my static site 4. Perfect. Okay, cool. And for the sake of it, one last thing before we close out. Let me go to GitHub. You know what? Let me do this in Visual Studio, just because I already have stuff open there. So here we'll open, go up, we have source, peer, static content. Let's edit that HTML. Let's go from 4 to 5. That's it. Clear all this stuff up. Run one more time. This should say that there's a change because of the triggers, right? It should know that there's a change. Yep. Oh, there is. Yep. It's going to replace it. So yes, we do want to run it. Awesome. There's a diff. It doesn't really know what the diff is, but that's fair, right? Unlike the other types of resources. So cool. Creating replacement. We're running. All of that stuff should take a couple seconds, I guess. Hey, what that? It outputted something there that seemed a little weird. First of all right, it says 5. That's it. That's what we wanted. If I go back to Pulumi, nothing in the standard error. Okay, maybe I just saw something for a fraction of a second. Not sure what's going on there, but all right, cool. Looks like we're good. So hey, so we've got this. Let me go ahead and upload our changes. So I've got a basic implementation working. Yeah, it's good enough error message, or it's a good enough commit message. Cool. So we'll push that. That's all good. All right. So let's continue this next week. We will try to flesh this out a little bit more. We'll think of some more scenarios, and then we'll run our integration branch and all that kind of stuff. And I think after that we'll be good as far as code goes, because this is a very, very simple implementation. We're just we're writing some code that's a wrapper around something to run a command that is it's in itself technically a wrapper around the actual CLI command that's doing all of the hard work for us. Yeah, so next week that'll be the plan. We'll just work some more on this. In the meantime, I guess, yeah, follow me on social things. Subscribe, I guess. I'm on Twitter at programmeral.com, all that stuff. Yeah, that's it. Have a good one. Bye. I know I said bye, but where's the stop?